This video is about why I hate Star Trek Picard Season 3. I don't hate it. It's a bit of a grab for you. I don't hate Picard Season 3, but I very much feel like it is not as good as people keep saying. You go onto Twitter, you go onto Facebook, you go onto even TikTok and YouTube, and people talk about how great Picard Season 3 was, but it wasn't. To me, it felt like very much a, oh my God, we need to pull the fans in. And I understand that. I understand you have a 3-season show. People want to see a certain thing. Even me, if you'd asked me 2 years ago, do you want to see the TNG cast get back together? 100 hands down, I would have wanted that. My issues with Picard Season 3 stem from something different. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And let's go through a few of the things that I did not like about Picard Season 3. My main issue is we got rid of the Picard cast, the original cast members. We got rid of Elnor, we got rid of Rios, we got rid of pretty much every other character, and they didn't need to be gotten rid of. If you've seen Picard Season 3, you'll know that Jack Crusher is Picard's son, and that relationship forms over the series and becomes a big thing, Picard becoming a father. A story pretty much directly ripped from Star Trek 2 and 3 with Captain Kirk. Now, I'm all for recycling stories. Star Trek's been around for a long time, but it did feel beat for beat a sort of redoing of Star Trek 2 and 3. Whereas what they could have done is in the first season, Elnor, the Romulan fighty dude, was very close to Picard. Picard abandoned him. And it felt to me like you take that character, you could build him up in Season 3 to be like a son, to be like someone close to Picard, an adopted son of some kind. He'd taken him under his wing. And if they'd written that right, it would have worked really well. But Season 2 sort of abandoned Elnor, and it was really disappointing. My second issue with Star Trek Picard Season 3 was very much about the reuse of storylines and the lack of DS9 appreciation. So we take the Dominion, the big bad in Deep Space Nine, we shove the TNG crew in with Voyager, and obviously Worf is from Deep Space Nine. But there were certain moments in the series where I'm like, no, the people you need to contact are on Deep Space Nine. That is where they are. Like an example being when they're finding out how these changelings were tortured, or about the biogenics or the analysis of these changelings. It would have met more story-wise if it came from Dr. Bashir instead of Dr. Crusher. We didn't see the TNG crew do any Dominion stuff. So it felt like there was all these times, like for example, having Worf be more prominent on the security of the Dominion, he knows how they operate. Talking to Ezri Dax, or talking to, like instead of Deanna Troi, or talking to other actors who had a better understanding. Kira could have been brought in. She dated a changeling, and she could have got tons of information from Odo. And that was the key thing for me. It felt very much like all this screamed out for was DS9 cameos, and all we got was TNG cameos. And that was the most frustrating thing in the whole season. Why was it Tuvok that 7 of 9 called? Surely you would call, Worf would call someone he knew on Deep Space Nine, or someone he knew could do changeling stuff. And then comes the ending where the main bad of the entire season is gone, and they bring back the Borg. Like, I have no problem with the Borg being used. But what we have, and I'll still say this, regeneration in Star Trek Enterprise was far better than any Borg episode that's been released since Best of Both Worlds, because you're taking away the Queen, and what this felt like was expected. It was a villain we knew. Alice Krige came back. It felt like, yes, TNG should be facing their biggest enemy, but why was it the Borg again? The Borg were defeated in the Borg was stopped in TNG, defeated in Voyager, and then just because they decided to use them to beat them again. Now, this isn't the only stuff that was brought up in Star Trek Picard Season 3. They constantly brought storylines from other movies, other Star Trek shows. The entire end battle sequence with the Enterprise D is Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope at the end, the Enterprise flying through the ship, flying through the Borg cube. And my first thought is, why? Star Trek is its own entity. It's like, for example, a little nitpick, like when they go to warp, they're going to another system to the Starfleet Museum, but it's only going to take them an hour to get there and an hour to get back. That's not how warp works. An hour? What? Anyways, and that's a nitpick for me, but that was one thing I noticed on a recent rewatch. I think that all of the moments, the nods to other shows with the Voyager popping up and the Defiant and the Enterprise A, and I get that these were really nostalgic moments for people, but it's in a show filled with nostalgia. I didn't have a problem with the Enterprise D turning up. I predicted that as soon as they said Hangar Bay 12. I had no problem with the D turning up. I had a problem, and this is my third problem, with the Titan/Enterprise G. Now, to me, and I know a lot of people love it, and I know a lot of people really, really wanted a legacy series, the ship's ugly. It's ugly. It's not a progression forward. It's design elements from everything else. It's nothing special. It's smaller. And after seeing the Enterprise F, which was a really cool design, like a big, proper successor to the Enterprise D, we get the G, which is nothing. It's just nothing to me. And it made me, to be honest, it would have made me a bit more sentimental if he was on the Titan A. Like the Titan A, or naming the ship Picard itself, like calling it the USS Picard, that would have made 10 times more sense. Now, when I say this, when I say they or he, I'm referring to Terry Matalas. Now, I think he's a talented writer. I think he knows his Star Trek really well. I think that this season, it was like a fan fiction. It was like someone gave a 12-year-old a book and said, write Star Trek and use whatever you want. And that's what he did. The whole season was just fan service after fan service after fan service. It was genuinely, like, a part of me loved it, and then afterwards it'd be like, what was that for? Like, there was just a level of sort of disappointment after excitement that hit me. And I don't know if it hit you, but it hit me. And then we get to sort of, I loved seeing the TNG crew, but we didn't need Data back. We'd seen him die twice. We didn't need the Enterprise G to launch with 3 crew members who were kids of other crew members on the Enterprise. It's essentially the Nepo prize. Like, I did not, to me, it almost hit the mark, but it was just gratuitously built on nostalgia and memories, which some people love. I personally don't. I found Star Trek Prodigy Season 2 and Discovery Season 5 better than Picard Season 3 because their nostalgia was light and it was used either as a fun little side note or an understanding integral part of the story, which wasn't in Picard. What did you think about Picard Season 3? What ideas would you have had if you'd written Picard Season 3? I've been Trek Trav. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you next time.